Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's We Roguelike It. I'm your host, Boston, and joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hello.
Actually, I messed it up. We're starting a brand new game here. We're talking about Monster Train.
Oh.
I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5. What platform are you checking this out on?
Android devices. No, I'm kidding. It's the Xbox Series X. Of
There you
course
go.
it is.
Yeah, I've heard the mobile version is pretty good. For those that aren't playing with us, it's a vertically laid out card game. Where you're placing cards to place units and do stuff and climbing up a train.
Yeah, well, you're protecting the train. You're
That's
stopping
true.
people from climbing the train.
That's true. Yeah, yeah. I will admit I've been a little hesitant to play Monster Train. This is one of the games that you always see on like the top 15 best roguelikes of all time. People are always like Slay the Spire, Monster Train, Binding of Isaac, Moonlighter. You have the usual suspects.
Yes, the quadrilogy, one might say.
That's right.
But in a critical misses alien quadrilogy kind of way,
Yeah.
where it's actually like 9 games.
Right, right. So I've been pretty hesitant to play this because the thing you see so much online is people saying, "Oh, if you like Slay the Spire, you should play Monster Train." I'm like, well, I didn't really click with Slay
I
the
thought Slay
Spire.
the Spire was fine.
Yeah,
I did
like
not hugely enjoy it.
it's a good game, but I didn't really ever click with it in a way that makes me think I need to go back to it. Um,
Mhm.
I really like Monster Train a lot. This one's clicking.
I think it's clicking because it gives you an objective for every fight. It's not just win the
Right.
fight. It's like, okay, there's rounds and defenses and things like that. Like, I do think it runs a little bit smoother,
Mm-hmm.
like understanding wise. And honestly, the runs aren't that long or all that bad.
Right.
I'm already 2 successful runs in.
Oh, dang.
My Covenant score is 2.
Oh, wow. Okay. I haven't
I
had a
will say,
successful run yet, but I've gotten close.
yes, and we are playing with the DLC included for those asking, which is
Yes.
a toggle on the main menu that you
Right.
can turn on and off.
Yeah, thank you for remembering. Yeah.
No problem. It's hilarious because a friend of the show, Rob, is a little behind in his podcast. That's fine. It happens to everybody.
Yep.
He sent me a message basically saying, I really hope you like Monster Train. I was like, oh, somebody peeped my achievements and didn't listen to the
That's
show.
right. Oh, yeah.
Because I specifically called him out at the end of
Mhm.
the last episode saying he's going to be really happy and I can tell him to shut up about it at last.
Right. Also, big shout outs to, I think it was Torek in the We Roguelike It channel saying like, hey, the DLC changes the game pretty significantly. You should try and grab that if you can. So thank you for,
Yes.
because that's something we do struggle with on the show a lot, where it's like, okay, there's 5 versions of this game that's all like DLC, and it's the next edition, and it's all the revamped version 3, and it's like, what version do I buy? Like, it's the Binding of Isaac problem. It's like, cool, 7
But
versions of them. What do I get?
The Last Stand Aftermath.
Right.
We played that on the PC because we both picked it up when it was free on Epic. Check out Redacted. I'm assuming coming at some point this year.
Yes.
And when we were playing it, we found out that the console versions are kind of questionable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think you nailed it, Moon, for Monster Train. I think so much of what I like in this is I like not having my character that is against X number of enemies. I like that you have multiple floors on your train. Like you are defending the core at the end of the day, so like that is ostensibly your unit, but I like that it's not super focused on, it's just that thing and a field of enemies. It's all of these units that you have that you're upgrading over your run, you're upgrading them in a specific battle. I like being able to add like thorns and armor and stuff like that. Like that all feels really good.
Have you mostly been playing with the regular red demons so far?
Yeah, just whatever that the faction is that you start with. That's the one you start with a different. Do you start with two, right? Yeah.
Yes. So what happens is when you start a run, you pick your primary deck, and then you get support cards from a secondary deck.
Oh, right.
So the hero card that you get is based on your primary deck, and then your support cards all come from the secondary deck. You can
Right.
get them from your primary too, but you can get them from the secondary. The second faction, the plant one, that is all based around spell damage.
Right.
So the hero for their faction is basically just a tank.
Okay.
No damage, just two huge shields. I just plop them right at the front and start stacking stuff above them, so it chips away at everybody really quick, really slowly, kind of
Right.
thing.
And
And go ahead.
that feels so good, being able to like. I feel like in a lot of these games, you wouldn't want to put your strongest units at the beginning, but being able to see their health chip down floor over floor as they kind of ascend towards the core, and that feels really rewarding. And then having the core do so much damage, it does like 20 damage at the kind of base. That feels really good. So it's not like, oh, there's 3 enemies there and it does 1 damage, so I'm gonna lose every time they reach the core. It's like, no, the core's got some health and it can do some work. So
Yes.
them fighting the core does not mean the end of a run whatsoever. No,
Yeah,
that feels really good.
it's really cool, and it's like this interesting build of like it's not a be all and end all on that first floor. And if you
Right.
lose the unit, you lose the unit. You just replace them with a new unit.
Yeah.
Or as I do, you accidentally find yourself in a hand with 0 units left, but a whole bunch of spell cards.
Right. And I like the kind of twist on, we play a lot of roguelikes with like the FTL style map of one node branches off to 3 or 4 and you're kind of making your choice through, but I like the choices that you get, and you can see all of the options on whatever path you're going from gate to gate. You can see whatever the 2 or 3 things you're going to do. And it has the usual stuff of like, do you want to feed 5 cards into this knowing it might go badly, but you could get a big reward? Do you want to chuck a ton of gold in this thing to see, roll the dice, or upgrading your units? Like upgrading your champion unit feels really good. Those are big upgrades.
So with the plant class, which might be my favorite one so far, when you upgrade that one, you can start to give it like defensive, like attack moves. So you can upgrade it so it has more spikes. There's one unit that does spell damage, like it's spell weakness to enemies when it attacks. So it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna stack everything behind this and then use spells on the top floors to just wipe everybody out.
Yeah. Dang, I gotta play
really
with
interesting so far.
I gotta play with that faction. That seems really cool.
Yeah. Also, for the record, when you clear a game, it gives you like medals. Like it's got bars to fill Boston.
I've been filling some bars, which I think is interesting because we see that in every once in a while of like, even if you lose a run, you're still making progress towards leveling up this faction or unlocking factions, or leveling up a bunch of different stuff. And I think that feels really good.
And it does this thing where it's got like little sockets on like a book that you fill in like the sockets with what runs you've beaten, who you've beaten with,
oh wow,
what your allied team was. So you can do it with different teams. That's what your covenant is. Your covenant is how many times you've completed it on what difficulty with how many people, essentially.
Wow. Okay.
And on my friends list, there's like a whole bunch of people, around 4 or 5, and then there's one right at the top with like 28.
Jeez.
That's friend of the show Rob, right up there at the top, having played way too much of
really
this
loves
game.
Monster Train. Yeah, and I can see it for sure. I think this is, even going through the tutorial in this game, it's one of those games that we run into where it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. Like, even if this game doesn't click with me, I really get from a design standpoint how strong this game is. It's just a blast to play. So,
yep,
hoping to play.
I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah, I'm hoping to play a bunch more of it over the next couple of weeks and see how much I can unlock and see how much I can clear in our month of game here. So, all right, any closing thoughts here for Monster Train Week 1?
It seems good so far.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next run. Bye.